options. Either you put the tank inside the house or outside the house. The tank is recorded. The tank is heavy, so obviously it's gonna be the lowest floor, which will be underground basement. So if you're gonna put the tank inside, it's going to be either in the basement or in the garage. If you put the tank in the garage, what do you have to provide? Safety barrier in case one day you're driving too fast and you don't want to put the tank and have it leak. Inside tank they are lower cost. Why?
Need less protection.
Less protection, less coating. It's protected from the sun, from the elements. It has longer life, again, because it does not rust as much. It is inside, the weather is different, does not get dinged, there's no less insects inside. It also have uniform temperature. Why? Because the temperature in the basement is uniform. When liquid get cooled or heated, usually if it's done over slow time, it becomes stratified. What does that mean? It comes into layers. Same thing into lakes. You go into lakes, probably the bottom layer is heavy, and there's the middle layer kind of hot. So you're always gonna have layers between the tank product. And so inside tank, we're always going to have uniform temperature, which is good. Outside tank, sometimes the cold comes really quickly, and you have a cold layer at the bottom. So this is some of the advantages of inside tank. The viscosity will be uniform, and you'll always will not have the problem of heating your tank. I would say the three things we need to do if the tank is outside and it's going to drop below 20 degrees. What are those three things? Either you heat the tank or the pipes. Second,
Pressure.
you can have more pressure, have a strong pump to pressurize that through. And third, what is it? What do you put?
Kerosene.
Kerosene, up to 20%. So you add kerosene to it to make it a little bit thinner. This is something called a swing joint. This is some of the codes. The tank has to be at least 5 feet from the burner. Write that down, remember it. When in doubt, usually put 5 feet or 3 feet. 5 feet is very common. So tank location has to be at least 5 feet from the burner.
Is that all sides?
Yeah. So if the oil burner in the middle of the house, you have to locate the tank at least 5 feet. Otherwise, the fire marshal or the inspector will come to your house and will not approve that installation. Vent has to be at least 2 feet from any opening. Write that down. What does that mean, any opening? That's the vent for the tank. Because when you fill the tank, you need to have a vent, right? Otherwise, you're not going to be able to put any fluid in it. And there's a nice schematic here.
What do you mean by any other opening? Like window?
Window, power venter, door, any opening in the house. Let me show you. So this is your vent line for any tank, but we're talking about inside tank. So if you look here, that's your tank. That's your vent pipe. Should be at least 3 feet from any window.
Why is
So
that?
it doesn't suck in excess air? Or?
Why is that? Good question. Why is that? What's coming out of the vent? If the tank has fuel oil and you put in fuel oil, what is the air inside the tank have? Fumes. That's the fumes. So you don't want to be venting the fume into your bedroom.
You don't have to put like a filter on that, like on a car, like it's a charcoal filter, so.
There's a mesh. There's no filter. It's just a mesh, and sometimes it has a whistle.
Oh, okay.
That tells you you're filling. Yeah. So usually they put a whistle there. So as you're filling, you hear a whistle coming, and it has a mesh, so insects won't go get inside, and that mesh has to be clean. And I'll show you a video about that, what tank inspection. At least 2 feet from any opening. Size of the fill pipe and the vent pipe. Which do you think should be bigger, the vent pipe or the fill pipe? Who says vent? Who thinks it's the fill? Why?
It's always that way in a car. I mean, you got a big pipe to fill it and a little pipe to vent this. That's my call.
It's the other way around. The vent pipe should be bigger by at least 15% than the fill pipe. Because you're filling fluid, it could be fast, you want something bigger. If it was smaller, you might be filling more than you venting. In that case, you have an overflow, and you might back up the vent. And there's a vent in your car. You have a vent. Once when does the filling gun stops? If you click it, it will stop when there's like a lot of back pressure. The back pressure due to the vent. That's why they make the vent size smaller.
Oh, okay.
So you have back pressure and stop. It's a different option in the diesel.
You got a whistle.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're gonna keep going until it stops. That means you filled completely, and you should know the quantity you're putting in. So the vent pipe should be 15% bigger than the fill pipe. Everybody got that?
Do you guys remember the percentage though?
Huh?
Do you guys remember the percentage?
Sometimes they do ask you, but at least you know it's bigger.
What was the percentage again?
15.
15%. Tag valve, you gotta have an outlet. And I think also the vent pipe has different code from town to another. But there's a lot of, we'll go over these things. I'm sure the vent alarm. That's the vent alarm. So if it looks like kind of, it has a hood, and the air comes inside out, because you don't want water to come inside, you don't want moisture to come inside, dust, debris, and you want to be also higher than the ground, and it has a whistle in it. So this is the vent pipe with vent alarm. Okay, moving on. Swing joint must be used at elbows. Why do you think we do that? It thinks like it's a little bit elaborate connection. Why can't we just commit this to this? Yeah, to give it some kind of flexibility. And because usually metal, being the tank or the pipes, will expand and contract slowly. And if you don't have an area of movement, probably it will crack. And over time, you might have issues at the joint over here. So this is what is called a swing joint. Filter. You must have a filter in your tank. Coming after, and this is some pictures of the filters. So it's coming out of the tank, and you have a valve. What is this valve? No. Shut off valve, but not shut off. It's firematic valve. What does that mean? If it gets hot, up to 165 degrees, it will melt and shut off by itself. So it's a thermostatic shut off valve. The way it's constructed, there's a small little lead mix in it that will melt and will drop the pin and shut off the flow. You can have those. What else do we use those in the boards? We have them in the board, right? But they have connection between them, so they can be used for electrical parts, and they also can be used for tanks. Tank gauges, they are preferred, but they are not required. And the tank gauge can be glass, can be plastic. The only time that you cannot use a glass or plastic gauge is if you install it in a way that if it breaks, it will leak oil, you're not going to install it. It's not allowed. So if you go into a steam boiler, you see a side glass, right? If that side glass breaks, will it leak water? It will leak. In the tank, you can't have the same kind of gauge. It has to be in the top. If that gauge breaks, malfunction, it's not going to leak. You got that? So you can put the gauge if you want, but the gauge has to do nothing with leakage. Product should not go through, designed to avoid the foam. Must stand on concrete floor and have legs. You cannot stand a tank on wood floor, or first floor, or dirt, or asphalt. It has to be concrete, and it has to have 4 steady legs, and it has to be balanced.
Is there a certain level for the concrete to go down?
No, but it has to have like, it has to have clearance, 1 foot.
1 foot.
Yeah, there is clearance, we'll go through the clearance.
Is that only an indoor tank?
Yeah,
So-
indoor and outdoor as well.
so outdoor tanks have to
yeah,
have concrete?
yeah,
base?
they put some pegs on them and like some kind of stands and pedestal. Must be on the lowest level of the building, we said that because why? Heavy. And if it leaks oil, you don't want it to leak inside your house, you put in the oil in the basement. And diesel oil is considered to be very highly contaminated. If you get 5 gallons spill, that's an EPA case. So be very careful when you leak oil.
What is it, like, what is it in top, like a higher level in the building?
It's against the code, they're not gonna approve it.
Yeah.
You can put it there, and the fire marshal comes to inspect the installation, they will say, no, you have to move the tank. And they're very picky about it, rightfully so. Thermal shut-off valve, that's what you saw before? Yeah.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
Now, you said that they can't be within 2 feet of an opening?
Yeah.
Is that just the piping?
That's the vent pipe.
Just the vent?
Yeah, yeah.
Alright, so I was gonna say, cause like, so an oil tank could be in the basement of the house, or, like, a window could be above the
Yeah.
tank, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can direct it somewhere else.
What do you mean by,
Huh?
what do you mean like opening there?
Like, a window, a door, power venter, garage door, any kind of opening in the house should be within 2 feet of the fumes. The fumes always go up, right? So you want, it can't be even in the sides. And the top shouldn't be more than less than 2 feet. You can have a secondary thermal valve at 12 feet. That questions always happen. So, thermal shut-off valve, that's for the oil. If you have the tank line going more than 12 feet up, with every 6 feet you have to put shut-off valve. So the first one will be at 6 feet, second one will be at 12 feet. That's for electricity and for oil. Why is that? If you have a ceiling that's more than 12 feet for some reason, you want hot air will rise. So when the first one to be activated, 65 shut-off the oil. Second one will be at 6 feet. They just put them at 6 feet at each layer. So 12 and 6. This is schematic from the CMR, and this is what they suggest as a setup for tanks. So you can have 2 tanks, depending on how big of a building you have. So 2 tanks. What is the maximum size for a tank? Each one?
600 gallons.
660 gallons. Write it down. 660. So in total, we can have how much?
13,
1520 for both. And this is the setup. You have a joint union, and the air vent will be in the second tank, and the fill pipe will be in the first tank. So if you ever had a car or a SUV with 2 tanks, probably it's the same kind of setup. You fill the first tank, as it fills up, it will go to the second tank, and you will have the gauge in the second tank. And the oil will be from both tanks, the drone. And this will go to the burner.
pretty simple process it looks like.
Huh?
It looks like a simple process.
It is. It is. And again, 4 legs, and it has to have pedestal. When you go and do tank inspection, make sure the oil has no leaks, no kind of dew. Tank? It's always going to be. If it's burning off, it's going to be off. And check for leaks. Actually, you want to also turn it on and see if it's leaking while it's turned on.
Oh, yeah.
And there are some plugs that are magnetic. That's not
Yeah,
an
plug
option.
that's magnetic.
The magnet, you have a small clip and you put a magnet on it. Or a seal or a glue, that's not acceptable. You'll see that. So outside or above ground, why would you do that?
In case it leaks, got nowhere else to put it.
you have nowhere else to put it, you don't want to put it outside, the basement is finished, you don't want to put an ugly tank in there, so many reasons. So you put outside, you have two options, either above ground or below ground. Above ground is better, because why? It's easy to inspect, and it's cheaper. Buried tank are more expensive because they have to be non-corrosive, and you have to dig a hole and put a lot of evolved piping in it. Has to be again 5 feet from the building. Let's look at that. So this tank here is not 5 feet from the building, but that's a NORA book. Probably in Massachusetts, you have to be 5 feet from the building away. You put it away by 5 feet, and you put it in there. And as you can see, there's always a platform.
That's concrete.
Yeah, concrete platform. And I kind of don't like this setup because it's very close to a condenser.
I was gonna say that.
That's not really good. There's a lot of sparks in there, so this is the wrong location. But again, where does NORA book come from? Which state?
Connecticut.
No, no,
Arizona?
no.
No.
New Mexico.
South Carolina.
Maine?
North
Maine?
Carolina.
Virginia.
Maine?
No. Close.
Hawaii.
Vermont?
Close.
New
New
Hampshire?
Hampshire. Thank you. It's New Hampshire. They have lower regulations than Mass, and the housing there is very sparse. So it's from New Hampshire. And actually, if you finish the book, you can go and get their certification. But this is not the code here, but this is what it looks like. And
Is that just to keep it level, the pedestal, the pegs?
if you look at the, good question, see those pegs? They have screws in them, so you can keep it level up and down, just in case it floor is not level.
Isn't it supposed to be painted a different color too, because it's outside?
Huh?
The tank, isn't it supposed to be painted a light color?
Yeah, it should be.
Is that gonna be on code, on the taxi tank?
Yeah. Inside, above ground inside tank. They don't say anything about look at the distance, but it's supposed to be outside. Let's look at the types here a little bit. This is 275 above ground. And this is a coated tank in the outside, it has to be light color. And there's a lot of them that are fiberglass now, because it lasts longer, it does not rust. Okay. At least 5 feet from the building, that's from the CMR. There is always problems with moisture, cold, and dust, so if you put it outside, it's going to be a little bit more expensive, and you have to be having more protection in the tank. In the winter time, you're gonna have a lot of snow, a lot of blizzards, a lot of issues with freezing. And in the summertime, you're gonna have the sun hitting this tank, which is almost half empty in the summertime. So it will start to evaporate and can cause an issue for you if it gets too hot. What is the flash point of diesel? 100. So it gets that hot, if it's especially under the sun, and there's no shade on it, it will start to evaporate and flash, and probably you'll be able to smell diesel within the tank. In location with temperature below 20 degrees, 25% blend of kerosene is recommended. 25% of kerosene. You can put it with the diesel to make it flowy.
25%.
Okay?
Wait,
Everybody get that? That's write that down. Good?
No.
It's in the book.
Oh, yeah, you already said this on the first slide.
It's in the book. Okay. Whatever it takes for you to remember this. You'll need all these little numbers. So, if you put the tank outside or inside, you're gonna have some copper piping with PVC protection. Has to be copper. We can't use metallic. Why? Corrosion. And the fill pipe can be metallic, but the line coming from the tank all the way to the boiler has to be copper. Never bury copper pipes. What if you have to bury them? What are you gonna do? They have to have some sheathing. They have plastic sheathing, you can bury it so it doesn't react with the cement over time. For average, it's not a good idea to bury pipes because it's going to be an issue if they ever get clogged. That's not a good practice. But I've seen it somewhere. We have it buried here. The reason people bury it is because they're afraid to step on it and they squish it. And copper is very soft, so you might have kinked or something, so they can bury it. But it's better to have them exposed. For average oil burner, inlet should be 3/8 OD. Write that down. 3/8 OD is a good number.
What's the inlet?
Huh?
What do you mean by the inlet?
Label coming into the oil burner.
From the tank.
From the tank.
OD is the outside diameter.
Yeah. Half an inch is also common. I don't know what the CMR states, and probably I gotta get the updates one. I'll give the updated one, but it's 3/8. And you will see sometimes half an inch, but it will reduce it to 3/8. Shut off the thermal guards. All copper fitting should be flared, no press fitting or solder fitting.
Press or what?
Soldering. There's no soldering going into the oil lines into your burner. Why? First of all, press fitting are good for water, but they can leak and they have a gasket that's made out of rubber. Rubber over time will react with oil and eventually will disintegrate or like degrade and it will leak. So press fitting is not allowed. Soldered fitting is not allowed because again over time it might, with the movement, it might flex and eventually lose some with stiffness and start to leak. So we use what? Flare joints. Do you know how to make a flare joint? You did. And flare is basically metal with pressure, and that's the only approved way to have those kind of fitting. Never use threading or paste with oil. It's not approved because again, thread is always going to leak, and the paste over time will react with oil and it could leak. So always flare joints. That's why we practice do flare knots. Never use Teflon. Teflon reacts fast with oil. Teflon is okay with water. You could use tape, but not Teflon or paste. You go ask for approved Teflon or tape for oil. Use one pipe size, minimum of 3/8. So you can go up more than that. I've seen half an inch. So minimum is 3/8 inch. And try to use one pipe size from the tank all the way to the boiler. Why?
Use all the same fitting.
That's good. That's one thing. What else? The flow will be consistent. Whenever you have a reduction or expansion, you're gonna have some kind of turbulence and cavitation, and you're gonna change the pressure. So use uniform pipe to keep the flow consistent. Same thing when we do water. You always want to use same size. Tight and leak proof. You have to test the tank. The piping before you do it, before you put oil through it. You can pressurize it and look for bubbles with the water and soap to make sure it's tight. Thread connection required. A pipe compound that is oil resistant if you want to use thread, but it's not recommended and in Massachusetts they do not allow you to have thread. It's not approved. And that is for what? For the oil line from the tank to the pipe. Can you use thread for the vent and fill pipe?
Yeah.
Yes. Can you use steel for the vent and fill pipe? Yes. What size, which is bigger, the vent or the fill? The vent. By how much? At least 50%. All right, we're remembering stuff. Underground tanks. So it must be 2 to 3 feet deep. see a picture. The suction and return should be installed 3 inches from the bottom of the tank to enable switching. Let me show you the picture. Actually, I have a picture here. So this is underground tank. Let's say you have a big building, and if you notice here, the suction and vents are coming from the bottom, not from the top. Well, because usually you want to get stuff from the bottom. However, what's in the bottom usually? The water and the dirt. So if you got any water or dirt, it should be clogged and caught up in the oil filter. For the vent and fill pipe, so this is my vent line, this is my fill pipe, and there's also an inspection port. What is this inspection for?
Inspection of the level of the oil.
Yeah. Look at what else? The water in the tank. So you're gonna go with a stick deep enough to hit the bottom. There's a paste you put in the stick that changes color once it's fine water. So you stick the whole thing in the bottom and see if there's water or not. That's why it's straight down.
What if there is water?
So that you drain it.
How are you gonna drain it if it's 2 feet underground?
Use the
Vacuum?
suction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright.
Find some water. You have to suction it, and this will always happen if the house has been occupied for a while and the system usually before season. Yeah.
So the inspection port's on the other side where all, yeah, so the other side where all the piping is
Yeah.
on the opposite side, so you wouldn't get, okay, so the fuel storage tank would be tilted, right?
No, it should be level.
It should be level?
Yeah.
So indoors versus underground is different then?
Why?
I don't know, our Bill told us that it was supposed to be tilted so that water goes to one side.
I think that was for that catch plate for the evaporator.
Yeah.
Like all one.
I don't think the tank should be level. It should be level, and you always siphon or get the oil from the bottom of the tank, which does use gravity. And for here, it should be level. So if you have an inch of water here, there will be an inch of water in here. And if you see the suction line here, it's coming all the way from the bottom of the tank, a little bit higher, and you leave some area here for water accumulation. And this tank has 2 lines, so it keeps circulating, going back and forth. 2 to 3 feet in the bottom of the ground should be buried, and it should have some kind of lining. Let's see, what else do I want to show you? So this picture shows you if you have to place the tank very far away and you want to bury those pipes, you're going to put it in a protective cover, PVC, another pipe, so it will withstand the weight of the ground. Otherwise, somebody will back the ground and it will get squished. So I want to show you also. These are some of the new tanks, fiberglass tanks, underground steel tanks. Again, this is like before they bury it. They're either cylindrical or spherical, because you want to be able to withstand the pressure from the ground and from the earth. And also you want to have the bottom line to be the last drop of oil in there. NFPA. So vent and fill line must terminate outside the building at least 5 feet from any building opening. So NFPA says 5 feet. NFPA is the national code. So it could be, the local code can be higher but not lower. So NFPA says 5 feet. However, Massachusetts code says how many feet? 2 feet. So according to the NFPA, it should be 5 feet. The vent should be should not be smaller than the fill pipe, we talked about that. Both vent and fill opening must have weatherproof caps to prevent tampering and also water intake. We get a lot of rain here, so you wanna have the proper cover to minimize. You're always gonna get some stuff in there, but you wanna minimize. And where does most of the moisture in the tank come from? Air. And the tank is usually metallic and colder, so it will condensate, and over time, the more you fill, the more air you'll take, and you'll have few drops in there. Fill and vent pipe should be iron or steel, or Schedule 40 brass pipe. Why? We want to be strong and supportive. If you put them, you cannot use copper. What is brass?
Copper mixed with, yeah.
Copper mixed with what? Yeah, nickel, other material. But that's why it's kind of like golden color. So it could be brass or iron, and it should be strong to support the weight and does not bend. Cast iron fitting are not to be used. Vent pipe on 660 gallon tank must be at least 1.5 inch and higher than the fill pipe. That's another thing. So the vent pipe should be bigger than the fill pipe, and it should be higher. So if you see two pipes, the lowest one is the fill pipe. The vent should be higher. Why? In case I overfill, the top, the brim, it should be a little bit higher so it's not spill over. Make sense? And this is the minimum size, 1.5 inches. So it's a big pipe.
I'm still writing down.
Okay.
Should you write everything down on it?
Huh?
Should you write everything down on it?
Well, it's in the PowerPoint, it's in the book. But take notes for the numbers because it will be helpful. Let me also show you. This is the tank. Which one is the fill pipe? Which one is the vent pipe?
The vent pipes, where his R is on the right and the fill pipe's on the left.
Yeah, this is higher. And this looks bigger, but it's not bigger because it's just the picture and it's closer. It should be bigger and higher. And it has the cap and the whistle on it.
Can you go back to the 40 bracket?
I need 3 more. Yo, this is the low day.
Okay, we're good?
No, 1 second.
It was like, it literally like skipped your head.
We're good? Okay. More code. When the tank is higher than the burner, so you'll see that sometimes. The tank is a little bit higher than the burner for some reason. It's on a pedestal, different level of the basement. You gotta get some anti-siphoning valve that should be installed, so you do not siphon all the oil, and you have air in the system.
Would someone actually do that in their own house?
Yeah.
Siphon their own oil out?
No, it's not about that. It's like how can I say, it's anti-gravity, you don't want all the oil to come out and the line to be empty completely. So what happens is, for example, if you put the line, I've seen that before, the line goes up the ceiling and down. So if the line is empty of water, of oil, you're gonna have to fill it, and this is going to be a little bit difficult because you have to vacuum and soak up all the oil out of the line. Let me draw this. Give it. I've seen it before. It does happen. So if this is my tank, and this is my oil burner. Okay. And if the line goes up, then down.
So you gotta put pressure in that.
So at some point you have to fill all this with oil. So you take some oil and some will come in here. So what if this empties completely? So here you're gonna have to put a check valve. And if this empty completely, you're gonna have some air. And good luck trying to suck the oil all the way down. So you're gonna go with a pump and make sure there's oil all the way here. Then you hook it up. So you wanna always control the amount of oil in the tank. Anti-siphoning device. You guarantee there's always oil. The same thing with your toilet. You have a toilet. You always have a pipe that goes up and down, right? That's the little.
Same concept.
That's where you have the water here and the water here the whole time. That's why it keeps filling up because it has back pressure. Thermal valve must be installed in the suction line before the filter. And the shut-off temperature is 165. How does it work? You have a valve. The valve is here. So this pin is held up by lead that's ready to melt at 165. Once it melts, this will drop here and shut off the flow.
So that's not how does it work? Question answer.
Yeah. So gauges must be installed in all inside tanks. So remember before when Nora said like it's preferred, in Massachusetts it is a must. You have to have a gauge. And the gauge should not be glass, it should not be a reason for leaking. You don't want to put the gauge in the side of the tank. Okay? What is the average lifespan of a tank?
15 to 20.
15, 20? That's reasonable. Some are like, some tanks are cheaper and they can be like up to 10 years, but they should last long. When does the tank actually start to rust? When does your car start to rust?
In Massachusetts, after a couple of years.
Overnight. The first night.
Yeah.
Get your
5
brake
years.
rotors
They
out.
start, when they start using liquid salt, by the way, that was in 2015, they started using liquid salt. A lot of people had to change the brake lines and fuel lines because it was rusting quickly. But anyway, what I was trying to get at, the body of your car, when does it start to rust? What happened first in the car before it started rusting? The body.
Mine was
Oxidation. Starts getting thin.
First, you have to either scratch it or dent
yeah,
it.
the paint's got to disappear
Yeah.
somehow.
First of all, the coating has to go, and usually when you dent it. When you dent the metal, it does not come back to its original shape. You have to change the alignment. And even if you fix it and put some putty on it or whatever, it will still rust because you broke the bond between the metal. And so if you dent the car, even if the paint is there, it's more susceptible to rust. That's what happened to your back fender usually because stuff hit it and strip away the paint little by little. This is why it starts to rust usually. First area that starts to rust is the fenders. The back fenders especially. They get rusted because they don't have guards on it. That's why that is the idea of the guard. So the tank will not rust quickly, but it's coated. Once you start chipping away the coat, that's where you start to rust. Usually it rusts around the seams where it's welded or where the pipe is. So that's something you wanna think about. Location, thickness, is it buried or above ground? And how exposed is it to the elements? So again, small little dents, paint chips away, that's when you start to have rust. Low quality steel, there are cheaper tanks. You can get a tank for $75 or you can get a tank for $500. And again, depending on the warranty. Fiberglass are better. They do the job. They don't react to oil, and they're becoming more popular. Fiberglass industry was not as popular 20 years ago. So you'll see tanks from 20 years still that was steel.
More expensive than.
The fiberglass,
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit more expensive. If you bury the tank in acidic soil, probably they will rust faster. Water in the soil, there's gonna be some water in the soil. If your house gutter does not terminate far away, probably your house is gonna spill on the tank and it's going to be very moist in there, and eventually it will rust faster. So you wanna pay attention to that. Tank is dented or mishandled. Then never accept dented tanks because they will rust faster and they will go away faster. Same thing with why people don't eat canned food that is dented. You should not. Again, the lining has been broken and it's wrapped into the metal. So that's why dented cans usually are cheaper and you have to do it quickly. It's not something you should be consuming. So the same thing with tank. If the tank is dented, you don't want that dented, it will rust. Tank and product, worst enemy is water. So water will rust the tank, and what else? What does water provide? What loves water? Bacteria. Bacteria will eat your product, and water is where it lives, so you want to get rid of the water. The pump. Check the pump for proper gauge pressure. What is the gauge pressure for a residential oil burner? 1 to 150, depending on the burner. Check for any leaks that is present around the pump, even if it's small leak, if it's a drop, check for that. Be aware of any grinding noise in the pump. When you turn on the pump, huh? Can you still see it?
Sorry, yeah, no, I just.
Okay. So this is like,
Just try to hurry up, he has a Valentine's Day.
you got blue? No, no, it's not that. Well, I guess it's nasty. I'm taking my time. Okay, so be aware of any grinding noises. There could be water, there could be sludge in the pump. So watch out for that. If the pump is pulsating, or the filter, could be the filter is clogged. What does pulsating mean? Goes on and off. You feel like a pulsation. Up and down, not steady flows. The filter could be clogged, and it's sometimes soften in stages. Sometimes it's a kinked oil supply, somebody stepped on it. It is kinked, it is bent more than 45 degrees. So it could be a big bend. If you bend the pipe more than 45-degree angle, what will happen? You're gonna have some accumulation in that little turn. Whatever dirty house is gonna be trapped there. So be aware of that. Again, sludge gonna be sometimes wedged in there. So inspect the oil filter and look at it and see what's in there. The pump must be positive displacement shut off. If not, gas. What does that mean? So the pump has to be positive displacement, which should be just pushing. And it does not, if there is no gas, if there is gas in the line, it should not be working. Some of them will be able to pull some gas, but not against gravity, because oil is relatively heavy. So if you have the same case over here, the pump will not be able to pump oil from this distance, depending on how high it is. It's designed to run with gravity. If it's 1 foot or 2 feet, it will be okay, and it will be slow. You'll see the oil goes really slow until it gets there. But it's, if it's more than 2 feet, probably it's not going to be able to to get it. So it does not work with gas, it works with fluid. So think about that. If you see the line going above the burner, you know there's something wrong with the suction. The pump is not designed to have this amount of suction. So what do you do? In this case, you have to put your own pump in here and get all the oil at this point. Then you're gonna hook up the pump and bleed it. Make sure there's no bubbles coming at all. Do we all know how to bleed a pump? Who doesn't know how to bleed a pump? If you don't, let's practice. For more, hold on. You can find page 423. There's a lot about pumps. We'll go over it, don't worry. But they have a lot of cases about pumps. That's in chapter 4. So pump problems can be a little bit annoying. 423. So check out this page. So this is 423. This is all about what things can have gone wrong with the pump. By answering these questions. Is there oil intact? No. Have oil been delivered? A lot of scenarios. So there's so many things that you can do, but I highly doubt somebody will go there with a checklist. I mean, but it will be, if nothing worked, you can just go back to the book and check what could have gone wrong. And what is the best thing to do when troubleshooting, before you troubleshoot?
Make sure you have all the right tools.
Yeah? And ask so many questions. What happened? What changed? If it was running, what happened? Was the oil delivered recently? How long was the tank empty for? When did you get the house? Check if there's some information. Some good companies actually they leave a log next to the burner and tell you what service they did. And sometimes they leave their phone number on the equipment, and you can ask. And probably they put a number on that customer's boiler. So the more information you have, the more you're able to know what happened. And a lot of things just can be very simple. Somebody came and changed the primary control, and instead of 3 wire, he put 5 wire, and he just did not wire it correctly. So be aware of what changes did happen in the system. So I'm gonna show you a video about oil and oil tank. You can stop the video now. Please.